We are tracking active weather at this hour, 12:17 Eastern, 9:17 Pacific. Active weather could be some widespread severe storms today. So far, warnings: Niagara Falls, Welland, Listowel, Mount Forest, Orangeville, some very strong storms around Highway 89, Southern Ontario, and a lot of people on the move. It's the long holiday weekend, isn't it? Thanks for joining us. One bit of good news. Environment Canada has dropped the air quality related advisory for Vancouver. We're seeing more mixing in the atmosphere as the winds come onshore rather than offshore. Still scorchingly hot in British Columbia. Bit of active weather in Alberta, Saskatchewan. Will go west, but first eastern Canada. Still a few dry breaks, sunny breaks in Toronto, and some sunshine in Halifax, but powerful storms, big downpours. We've been watching these storms develop, crossing over into New York State and Lake Ontario now, so that warning, Environment Canada should be dropping that pretty imminently. Niagara on the Lake, you had a big burst of rain. Let's head a little bit further north, concerned about areas along Highway 89 with downpours here, and these cells are starting to grow. And if you take a look overall, you could just start to see a line trying to develop, a broken line at the moment. That's the first area to get into those really strong storms, an area we're watching with equal importance, but the timing will be a little bit later, is eastern Ontario. A couple of scattered cells right now. Looks like around the Belleville area, maybe Port Hope. Muskoka's had a few showers, but most of the active weather, Orillia, some unsettled conditions south of Collingwood and along and north of 89. In between 6 and 10 right now is where those storms are, and they're headed east-northeast. Well, northeast is probably the best direction to talk about there. So if you're just joining us and you've got friends and family on the go, just let them know this is a high risk of severe storms today. High risk of localized flooding with these torrential rains. It's really just getting going now. It will be worsening and becoming more numerous. The threat of thunderstorms through the afternoon. Associated risk of tornadoes, small hail, gusty winds. This is a great view of the storm setup. The arrows that are white are the upper atmospheric winds, southwesterlies, surface winds coming more out of the south and southeast. So a couple of areas of concern where we could see tornadic development, more likely around and east of Georgian Bay and down towards Kingston, Prince Edward County later today. Precipitable water, plenty of it. Big downpours rolling through Quebec. Your big stormy day is tomorrow. Tomorrow will be cooler in Ontario behind this low. Still extremely hot in British Columbia. We've got some showers in Edmonton. Your local forecast radar in just a moment. The mixing around the coast, better air. Ontario, let me show you the radars. Active weather sweeping up from Lake Erie, crossing the Niagara region. That's moving out of the area of concern. New cells now down towards Wheatley Provincial Park. Looks like something near Goderich or just south of Goderich, down towards Grand Bend and the Pinery, popular provincial parks. And look at this cluster of cells just popping up now along Highway 10, Highway 6, Highway 89. Nasty stuff. If you know anybody that's in the area or on the move doing a drive, just let them know, as I just let my in-laws know. Driving up the 400, it's still off to your west, but it's steadily moving towards the east-northeast. So this is an area, let's say Gravenhurst through Lake Simcoe and Toronto, that's going to be filling in more in the next 1 to 2 hours. Northern Ontario's had some rain and thunderstorms. Northern Quebec, eastern Ontario, pretty quiet. We've had a couple little cells pop up here and there. Looks like, yeah, up towards the Rideau Lakes, we're getting a couple of showers. Kawartha is fairly quiet for now. Pop-up thunderstorms, trying to organize in a line. Severe weather potential. This is going to be a pretty serious afternoon for weather. One bit of good news, it does not look like the setup for a widespread tornado outbreak, and that's huge. That's a huge differentiation. We did, of course, historically, in this month, have the highest number of tornadoes develop in Canada's history. One-day event. It was about 24 tornadoes. And remember that day very well. However, today we have a favorable setup for widespread thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms, big impact because of the number of people that live here, because of the timing. It's Friday of a long weekend, and because of what we've had already, a very wet spring and summer and more heavy rain in the forecast. Gusty winds, strong straight line winds, very gusty outflow winds from these thunderstorm cells, and converging winds aloft and the surface different directions. So that means the potential of a good spin up of a cell. In other words, tornadic potential. Precipitable water, it's a humid air mass. Timing wise, let me just trend this through for you and check your local forecast in a moment. It'll have your radar right off the top, so you'll see what's happening. Cold front crossing Toronto early evening. Tomorrow afternoon will we be behind the front in Montreal. So you've got a strong risk of severe storms for you tomorrow. Northern New Brunswick, most of the Maritimes pretty quiet. Saturday night, Sunday, we start to see more active weather moving into the Maritimes. Risk of severe storms, if there's a warning for your area, whether you are east or west or north, you will find a red banner on your screen, on TV, on web, or on mobile platforms. A little bit of unsettled weather in Alberta today. Hot weather in BC, but you know what? The air quality is starting to improve. Not in the interior. There's still a thick haze, but it's more of an onshore flow, really mixing things up. That's better. Vancouver 29. Storm coverage continues after. Well, our team coverage is kicking in as we continue to monitor an increasing number of storms in Canada. Thanks for joining us, and a good morning to you in Western Canada. And it's a hot start in the interior of BC already, in the mid-20s. I think Lillooet's around 30 or so. Hot spot in the country. Sunshine in Winnipeg, lovely, but next door in Ontario and on through Quebec, severe thunderstorms have developed. There are warnings in place. If you're seeing a red banner on your screen right now, your mobile device, it means severe weather is occurring, or it's imminent. It's moving in. Widespread risks of many things. Kelly Sonnenberg standing by with the latest radar analysis. Kelly, after a quiet start with a few showers and a little bit of thunder, all of a sudden they're starting to blossom and they're starting to connect and become more linear, more organized, and more problems potentially. And the cool weather too. Thanks, Kelly. Great breakdown there. Isn't it wonderful when you can dissect the radar like that, and some wonderful analysis too, so that we understand where things are and where they are moving next. And if you're joining us from Quebec and Eastern Ontario, the worst yet to come. It'll be more evening, overnight through Saturday. Southern Ontario in general, from here on in through the afternoon, we'll be seeing an increasing amount of storms and severe thunderstorms. The threat with the downpours of localized flooding, also a tornado threat as well. Keep us tuned in and stay safe. BC, it is hot and dry. The interior, the cloud cover from the haze, from the smoke, limiting temperatures just a little bit. The south coast, an onshore flow mixing in. Hot day inland, but better air quality there. We'll be right back. Upload your photos and video via our app and, of course, on our website as well. Resurrecting an old friend here, cloud tops. Can you guess where the most active weather in North America is? Oh, you're right. It's from Ontario, from actually the Hudson Bay all the way down towards Kentucky. And if we zero in on Eastern Canada, this is the area of concern. Widespread thunderstorms, big population centers, a lot of people on the move. Friday of a long weekend. Widespread risk of thunderstorms, widespread risk of severe thunderstorms. Kelly, these warnings keep on popping up. Good news, Orangeville is out of them. And also good news, thunderstorms generally tracking east at about 50 kilometers an hour. They're moving. They're not stationary.
Exactly. They're moving, Suzanne, but the thing that we're really worried about is that they have a lot of moisture. As we continue to follow these thunderstorms through the evening, this is going to be a concern. The heavy downpours, a lot of people headed up towards cottage country.
Yeah, and Kelly, right behind you right now, just show us along the 400, that little section that's got those cells right now.
Exactly. Right here, just west of Newmarket, up towards Barrie. These cells to the west, like you said, Suzanne, they're going to be headed there in the next 10, 20 minutes.
It's all happening. Thanks, Kelly. It's all happening, but not necessarily in a good way. And I know a lot of you watching thinking, okay, timing-wise, it's begun. The worst of it has begun on those heavily traveled areas. Rainfall becoming more widespread, as Kelly said. We're just getting into kind of the worst of it now. The cold front crossing eastern Ontario later this evening, Montreal tomorrow, doesn't mean we'll be out of the storms for tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be quite a widespread risk of thunderstorms, including severe thunderstorm potential. So if you're just joining us, we continue to track these storms in real time. Downpours, damaging winds, some reports already of that. Could be some power outages. By contrast, quiet in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, cloudier as we head into Alberta, scorching hot in BC, showers in Edmonton, some embedded thunderstorms. One bit of good news, temperatures are still in the 30s, not quite approaching 40 as they were earlier this week, and a bit of an onshore flow mixing out some of the smoke. Work inside coming up to 1 o'clock Eastern and 11 Mountain. A good morning to you. Good morning, good afternoon in Quebec. Southwest of Montreal, Valleyfield, Huntingdon. A rogue cell has developed. No big surprise, but your bigger storm period yet to come. We'll get to the warned cells, this large area of low pressure, cooler air behind it, hot weather in BC continuing, some heat warnings, smog and poor air quality related warnings, not so much smog, but forest fire smoke there. And this broad area of low pressure, it's really quite impressive, and it has got a lot of lift with it, the cold front and all of the instability and the moisture. Big downpours. Kelly, we're concerned about flooding today. We're concerned about a tornado risk, damaging winds, and some of the cells in some really well-traveled areas are just getting going right now.
Yeah, Suzanne, we've just started to see them pop, in the last 15, 20 minutes. And like you said, we were talking about how much moisture is to work with in the atmosphere. It's because we know this past summer it has been wet. The ground very saturated. Flooding will be a concern.
Yep, flooding will be a concern. Overland flooding, street flooding as well, Kelly. Great tools there to see the latest cells, the latest tracking. This is just a quick snapshot of Saturday as we look ahead. Severe thunderstorm potential for Quebec will be on the rise. We continue with our active weather coverage. Your local forecast in a moment starts with radar. You'll see if you've got any active weather and a red banner if you've got a warning.
These warnings are going to continue. And Suzanne, the overall outlook is a major system that's tracking across the Great Lakes, and it's bringing in moisture from the Pacific Ocean.
It's quite incredible the way the atmosphere works, isn't it? Drawing up all of the available energy. Kelly, the breakdown of these storms here, the timing, as we keep saying, kind of couldn't be worse. It's the Friday of a long weekend, a lot of people on the go, and it's hitting some major population centers where millions of Canadians live. The southern half of Ontario, the northern half of Ontario and Quebec also getting active weather today, and Alberta is too. This is a current look across the country. Halifax, beautiful day today. Busker Fest continuing. Calgary, 17, cloud cover. Vancouver, the BC coast actually getting a little cooler today while the thunderstorms continue to fire up in southern Ontario. So Kelly breaking down the rain, the tornadic potential, where we have watches and warnings at this hour. I want to shift gears to show you a little bit of the active weather in Western Canada. Trough of low pressure, showers, a few embedded thunderstorms. Alberta and Saskatchewan today. Calgary, Edmonton, temperatures take a little bit of a dip. Regina, you may get by with a dry day, but Saskatoon and the Battlefords and the Quill Lakes, areas along the Yellowhead Highway, certainly a bit more unsettled. Prince George, 26. Central and southern interior BC still filled with smoke. It tends to pool in the valleys there. There's a bit more mixing around the south coast. The winds have shifted. Air quality is a bit better, and we'll be back. We've got a hot day unfolding in BC again. We've got a showery day continuing Edmonton towards Saskatoon. And we've got a downright stormy day in parts of eastern Canada. A map with the forecast analysis is one thing, but actual data or actual pictures of the atmosphere, there's so much more exciting and dynamic ways of looking at what's going on. We wanted you to see the satellite and radar here, the sweep of cloud cover that extends back across most of the lower 48 and across Ontario. That satellite showing cloud cover, radar showing precipitation, so there's the west, a few embedded thunderstorms, but widespread thunderstorms and severe thunderstorms, Kelly. And you've been looking at some really cool things, velocity, forward movement, the amount of rain. I mean, where should we start? I guess at current placement, because so many people are on the move right now.
Yeah. Suzanne, you're absolutely right. We've got the long weekend right around the corner. Suzanne, we're going to continue to watch these clusters develop, strengthen. We're going to have to keep an eye on rotation as well.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you about. So Haliburton and Muskoka, you might not be into the active weather yet, but those cells could be a lot stronger by the time they reach you, right?
And I wanted to point out, we were looking at a photo earlier of that one cell over Lake Erie. It looked like there possibly was a funnel cloud, so maybe some rotation to work with.
Yeah, so tornado risk today. Thanks, Kelly. Small interior room, the basement, the crawl space at the cottage, the place to shelter if you're concerned about a tornado risk today. And when those severe storms roll in, don't even think about it. Just seek shelter, safe shelter indoors. Cold front going through Ottawa, Montreal early tomorrow. Today, it's decent weather east of Quebec City and clearing out in Vancouver. In Collingwood and Barrie, Ontario, in the midst of it right now. If you're joining us under showers in Alberta, Saskatchewan, I know you're getting some measurable precipitation, but nothing like this, right? In terms of 30, 50 plus millimeters of rain in a half an hour, which is what thunderstorms can deliver. And it's really neat when you look at dry air, water vapor. This is current imagery. This is actual data right up to the present moment. A dry plume, and follow this moist plume from the Great Lakes back across the lower 48 of the U.S., exiting out over northern California into the Pacific. Kelly pointed this out earlier. Pacific moisture, not just Gulf of Mexico moisture, part of this setup here. And the risk of thunderstorms widespread today. Kelly, it's southern Quebec more tomorrow, but we've had these warned cells. And just a reminder to our viewers, watch as the potential warnings where it's actually happening. And you've got one potent cell kind of approaching the West Island of Montreal right now.
Suzanne, that moisture not only originating down in the Gulf, but it's transporting all the way from the Pacific.
And the rain is a big part of the problem. Thanks, Kelly. And those cells coming across. These are popular boating areas. You saw them coming across Georgian Bay and Lake Simcoe now. Great specific analysis, big picture stuff here. Rain and thunderstorms, chance of damaging winds and rain. And we clear out in Ontario, but wrap around northerly winds. Cool tomorrow. Storms continue in Quebec and Ottawa and the Gatineau and Montreal could really pick up overnight. There's Halifax. Nice day. St. John's, a little cool, but decent. Vancouver, hot inland, less smoky on the coast. Can cause a lot of garden damage, crop damage, car damage sometimes too. And we know that you in Alberta, you often get big hail. Today, it's unsettled. Edmonton's 14 with showers. Saskatoon is dry at the moment. Prince George is bright and sunny. Head across the country. Fredericton, Halifax, a bright day. Storms affecting our big cities, Toronto, Montreal, severe thunderstorm warnings. You know what? That's the radar. What I wanted to show you is the risk map, and the risk is widespread through this whole area. And Kelly Sonnenberg has been breaking down the cells cluster by cluster, cell by cell. And the more time goes on, Kelly, the more you're having to break down. We've got a couple of lines setting up now and big impact areas.
Yeah, no, lots of clusters now traveling east in the next hour or so. We'll have to be on a lookout for those thunderstorms.
And if you live in Owen Sound and Parry Sound, you might be thinking, oh, I'm done with the storms and they're moving in to me in Parry Sound. But it's not just one round, and we're not done yet in Owen Sound. Our point is that there's a whole lot of active weather and some pretty impressive looking shelf clouds and downpours. You can't even see the impressive looking clouds in some cases. The storms will be lingering in Quebec for tomorrow. The conditions are quite stormy in Ontario and Quebec. It's just a bit unsettled today, tomorrow. All right, so Kingston and Peterborough, north through Bancroft, over to Parry Sound and Muskoka and Haliburton, and south through Barrie, severe thunderstorm watch now becomes a tornado watch. A watch, the potential. Thanks for joining us. Suzanne Leonard with Kelly Sonnenberg and our big team. Risk of thunderstorms, most of Ontario, most of Quebec, and it is turning out to be, as forecast, a very active afternoon. Kelly, warnings have been issued in a number of areas. Warnings mean severe weather is occurring, and our viewers will see a red banner appear on their screen or on their smartphone. Watches mean that potential, and you know, it's good to highlight the risk, the danger on a day like today. A tornado watch, just underscoring or underlining what we've been talking about, the potential today.
Exactly. The ingredients, like we've been talking about, Suzanne, thunderstorms impact the area. Suzanne, we've been talking about this cluster moving through. That's not going to be the only active weather we see. It's going to last into the next couple of hours.
Yeah, and just point out that line on the left side of your screen there, Kelly, that line that extends from Parry Sound all the way down to Lake Huron. That's not the cold front yet, right?
No,
it looks
exactly.
like a cold front.
The cold front's still a little bit further to the south and west. It looks like maybe over Michigan right now. So still we need that cold front to swing through. So this is all out ahead of it. It's that trough.
Yeah. So with that said, current conditions, we'll jump ahead to about 4 o'clock. That cold front might be a little too far ahead of the game because that's only a couple of hours out now, but it will be moving towards the land from the U.S. and advancing. I want you to look at the precipitation placement. Maybe that's the best thing here. 8 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock. Most of southern Ontario dried up, wraparound showers. Nocturnal thunderstorms going to keep going in southern Quebec. Now that is an area that's going to be quite active tomorrow. Southern Ontario from here on in, severe weather threat through the afternoon, through the evening. When will Toronto Barrie be a little calmer in the Muskoka region? That would be more evening, mid-evening, let's say. Conditions. Let's switch gears now. Western Canada, around 20 for Calgary. Some showers for Edmonton. Very hot in the BC interior. One thing about the smoke, the haze is helping to keep the temperatures down a bit. We are getting some rain in Alberta. Measurable amounts, 20 to 30 millimeters. 20 to 30 K onshore winds, mixing out the smoke. Weather Network app on your phone. And of course, only if it's safe to do so, get out and get us a little bit of video. Or shoot it from your front porch. That's a good safe place to do it, or from your apartment window. Big plumes of moisture back towards the U.S. West Coast. Severe thunderstorm potential today. We've seen a couple of strong cells around Ile Bizarre, Ile Perrot, Montreal's West Island, areas that were in the news for flooding earlier this year. Severe thunderstorms right now. Kelly, we've been looking at real popular places like Wasaga Beach, moving into Parry Sound, still going strong. Muskoka, Haliburton. It's 2 o'clock. It's a long holiday weekend. We can do the math.
Exactly. A lot of people on the roads right now, like you said, Suzanne. So we're going to continue to monitor these thunderstorms.